Offering pranam at the lotus feet of Guru. Let us begin. Over to you, Vidyaji.
So, Swamiji, the first question which comes to everybody's mind is what is Kumbha? What is Kumbha Mela? And how did it start? Because it starts from the childhood. We always heard that there was a Kumbha Mela when my parents were there, when my grandparents were there, when great grandparents were there. So when did it start, and how it came into the existence?
Ah,
Mela.
that's a
So
very
what is
nice question. Yeah, I think it is very important. And you see, Kumbh Mela has got two components, Kumbh and Mela. Mela means a congregation. All of us in India know very well what a Mela is. That's a place where people come together and there's a lot of good energy, good vibe which comes in. So that is the Mela aspect of it. But why Kumbh? This is the important point. You see, the origin of this is way back, lost in prehistory. It is said that a long time ago, the Devatas, they became very arrogant. And as a part of arrogance, they made some mistakes. And that mistake happened to be in front of sage Durvasa. And everybody knows how cool customer sage Durvasa is. At the drop of a hat, he will lose his cool and curse people. And that's exactly what happened. And due to that, all the Vaibhav, the glories were lost. And there was panic, there was problem in the entire uh, Devata community. The Danavas, they got a beautiful opportunity and they started overpowering. Again, as the tradition is, when in trouble, turn to Lord Vishnu. And they went to Vishnu, and Vishnu Bhagwan said that, yes, you have made a mistake. Now you will have to do one thing. You have the ocean, ocean of milk. That ocean of milk needs to be churned. And from that, the glories which were lost will all come back up again. Now they were like, how to do? What to do? I mean, it's an ocean. I mean, at home, if you want to churn buttermilk or curds into buttermilk, you know, you have a pot and you just do it with a small mathni. But here, what for the ocean? What mathni can you use? So it is said that Lord Vishnu gave the suggestion to use the Mandar Parvat. If the Mandar Parvat is the Mathni, but you'll need two people, two sides of people, and you'll need a big rope. So what can be done? The snake Vasuki was invoked. He was requested and he agreed to become the rope. And then there was the problem. Once you put the mountain in the ocean, the mountain starts sinking. Again, they started praying to Vishnuji. Then Vishnuji took the Kurma avatar and held the mountain. Now, these are very important aspects. Of course, they reflect in a metaphorical manner to the history which took place. But it is very essential for us to understand that this is not just mythology. This is a metaphor to tell us something. And I believe that it is this which is very important to understand. But to carry the story further, the churning of the ocean took place and lots of glories started coming up. Now, when these started coming up, then of course everybody wanted, oh, I will take this, I will take that, and all that's, the uh, treaty had been signed and we will share, etc. All that was there. And to some degree, they were all matching it up. But when the final nectar came up, Amrit came up, at that time, all hell broke loose. All the treaties, all the pacts, all the truce, everything was broken. Everybody started grabbing it, and there was a problem. And Bhagwan Dhanvantari, who had brought it out, he was like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" Since there was all this unruly mess going on, Garuda Devata came in and he just, intelligently took the pot away to a different place. While that pot was going, because it was being moved, some drops, it is said, fell at different points. The places where the drops fell became the places of Kumbh Mela. Some places, history says that the pot was kept over there because he felt tired, so he kept the pot over there. The point is that a little bit of Amrit fell at these four places. So the history of the Kumbh Mela starts in Devalok and it continues in Bhulok from time immemorial. There is a very specific method how it is decided where, when, how the Mela will take place. But the Mela takes place from thousands and thousands of years. It is going on with the same precision. Nobody can change it. Not kings, not rich people, not groups of people. No, there is a system, and that system is followed to the T right from that day till now. That is how the Kumbh Mela started in heaven and is continued on Bhulok even now.
Namundaran Swamiji, actually my Zoom was not working for some time.
Okay.
It works now.
Good.
Actually, I have more questions.
Sure.
Is actually when and where the Kumbh Mela is done?
Before we go to that, I would like, okay, let us, it is also an important aspect. You see, we mentioned that the drops of nectar fell at four places. They are Haridwar, Prayagraj, Ujjain, and Nashik. Four places where there are great rivers coming. At Haridwar, you have Gangaji. At Prayagraj, you have the famous Triveni Sangam. At Ujjain, you have the Shipra. And at Nashik, you have the Dakshin Ganga, Godavari. So it is on the banks of these rivers that the Kumbh Mela takes place when there is a very specific configuration in the skies. You have the sun, you have the moon, and you have Guru, Jupiter. They need to come in a very specific configuration. They need to be in specific constellations. When there is one set of constellations, then it will be Haridwar. Another set of constellations, it will be Prayagraj. Third is in Ujjain. Fourth is in Nashik. It is not that the Ujjain people say, oh, this time I would like to host it, that time I would like to host it. No, it is nobody hosting. There is divinity which is descending at that point, and we all are being a part of receiving the divine grace at that point. And that happens at these four places. These four and only these four, nowhere else. That is decided by the astrological calculations.
But then what is the significance of Samudra Manthan?
Samudra Manthan is a very, very important topic, especially if you have to understand Kumbh Mela properly. You see, we had spoken very briefly about Samudra Manthan. We'll go more into detail now. We have the ocean of milk. Have you ever seen any ocean which is of milk? Not possible, na? Have you ever seen that a mountain can be uprooted and it can be put in? Have you ever seen a snake that large that it can be utilized? So, therefore, we have to understand that all of this indicates something for us. And everything which is there in this story of Samudra Manthan is very important to understand the significance of the Kumbh Mela. The ocean of milk is your consciousness. Your consciousness has got many hidden treasures within. On top, it appears that we are ordinary people. But as you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, you have many treasures which are hiding below. But we need to search for them and bring them out. But there is a process to do that. If you have the curds and you say, I want the butter from here, and you start searching in the curds, you will not get butter anywhere. मिलेगा क्या? मक्खन ऐसे मिल जाता है क्या? चंदन में सुगंध ऐसे मिलता है क्या? चंदन को घिसना पड़ता है. चंदन की लकड़ी को नाक के पास लेके आएंगे कुछ नहीं होगा. जब चंदन घिसते हैं, when you make a paste of chandan, then the smell comes in. When you churn curds, the buttermilk is formed, and from the buttermilk, the butter comes up. So that process needs to be done. Our consciousness is latent, and this consciousness needs to be stirred also and shaken also, both. And how to do it? To do that, you need the Mandar Parvat, the mind, which is, what does the mind contain? It contains all our vasanas. It contains all our samskaras. It contains everything. That is the mind. That mind is inserted into the ocean of milk. But if we are not careful, that mind will sink down. So what do? You need the kurma. Kurma is a very special animal. It has the ability to pull everything inside. What is the significance here? All students of yoga know what is the significance of kurma. It is indicated as, anybody? What stage
It,
of yoga?
it takes all its legs or
Yes,
body.
yes, it pulls everything inside. But how does it
Pratyahar.
correlate with yoga? Yes,
Pratyahar.
pratyahar. What
Yeah.
does pratyahar mean? The
Pull
mind
in.
always outgoing into the Vishaya. in the sense objects, we have to pull all the senses away from the sense object and turn them inwards. The mind also has to be pulled inwards and connected inwards. If you just put it inwards, then you go into depression. But we don't have to go into depression. It has to connect inwards. That is dharana. Therefore, pratyahara has to move into dharana. That is the role of the kurma. So you have to use the mind. And that mind has to be held in place by pratyahar. Once the mind is held in place by pratyahar, then the mind is pulled in two directions, the positive and the negative. The devatas who look at what should be done, what is correct, what is appropriate, what needs to happen, and the danavas who want to do what they want to do. And they pull you in both the sides. Because you are in the center, you get churned. And through that churning, then you have the, if the churning has to take place, you need Vasuki. Vasuki is that energy, Vasuki is that attachment. The tail of attachment is safer, and the mouth of attachment keeps throwing poison. So you have to be careful. Keep the tail towards the devatas so that the divinity is nurtured. The face towards danavas so that the negativity is brought down and there is a balance between the two. And when there is a balance, then the mind does not shake and sway, but it gets churned. That churning slowly and slowly brings about the butter. From the buttermilk, from the curd, the buttermilk slowly starts coming up. You don't have to go searching. Once this process of churning starts, you don't have to go searching, oh, where is the buttermilk? Where is the buttermilk? Where is the buttermilk? No, the buttermilk automatically comes up. Exactly that is what has happened. The 14 Maharatnas came up. Nobody went looking for them. They came up. But before the goodness comes up, what happens?
Poison.
The halahal comes up. So, when we are walking on the spiritual path, we cannot just get spaced out. Oh, so nice, so sweet, so beautiful. So, You are dealing with the mind. And the first thing that is going to come up is the poison. And if you have the ability not only to take in the poison, but also to digest it, you and I cannot take that poison. Who can take that poison? Mahadev. And Mahadev has Devi. She holds his neck and the poison is held there. Either Devi holds his neck in some stories, or in some stories, Mahadev himself holds it here. The moral is the same. You have Vishuddhi Chakra. Description of Vishuddhi is Kalakoot ko pachane wala, Amrit ko तैयार करने वाला चक्र विशुद्धि चक्र है. Very, very clear description is given. The poison is digested and Amrita is brought out. That is the transformation which has to take place. That is Vishuddhi, which means you need to have worked through the earlier practices of yoga. When we are able to do this, then the pot of nectar rises. And before that pot of nectar, you have various things which come up. If it comes your way, that's fine. If it doesn't come your way, that is also fine. But you don't stop churning. Oh, I got Airavata. Oh, wow, beautiful. And you stop churning, you will not get nectar. If you want nectar, you have to keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Satu Dirghakala. Nirantarya. Satkara sevito drudha bhumihi. See, these are the yogic points which are embedded in this story. If we want to make use of Kumbh Mela, these are points which we have to bring in our life, especially at least during this period. If you can bring it all the time, nothing like it. But at least during this period, do try and do this. That is what is going to help us get the nectar. That is the significance of the story of Samudra Manthan in relation to Kumbh Mela.
Swamiji, Lakshmikant is having a question in chat
Mhm,
box.
mhm.
Whether the places go in order or it changes from time to time.
It goes by the constellations which are coming in. Depending on how the constellations are, then you have Haridwar or Ujjain or Prayagraj or Nashik. It depends on the constellation. It is every 3 years there is a rotation, but based on the constellations. And sometimes you get an Ardha Kumbh, sometimes you get the Purna Kumbh. Everything is based on very, very detailed astrological calculations. That in itself is a very, very important. You will not have the constellation which happens in Haridwar, that, oh, the Prayagraj people say that, no, we want, sorry, we want it this time. No, 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 no. It is there very, very clearly demarcated, because it is divine energy. Celestial energies are aligning in a specific manner, and there is an energy which is coming. Why the river? Because water is good conductor of energy. If you remember in olden times, maybe your mother, your grandmother, some of your great grandmothers, they would be doing puja with wet clothes. It was not just that they wanted to torture themselves. There is a reason. You try this. If there is, in the rainy season, you might see this. You touch the light switch, there is no problem. But if your hands are wet and you touch the light switch, many times you get a slight shock. Why? Because when the hand is wet, you become a very good conductor of electricity. So when the body is wet, this energy which is surrounding, that is brought in. That is the reason why they used to do it with wet clothes. Now, when that is there in the river, you take a dip in the river at that time. You are immersing yourself. You are saturating yourself with those vibrations and that energy. That gives you an opportunity to make a breakthrough in your life. That is the importance.
Swamiji, my question.
Mhm.
At Prayagraj, there is a sangam of three rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, and Gupta Saraswati. So, what is the significance of that?
बहुत सिंपल है. For students of yoga, it is very, very clear, clean, obvious. You have the Ida, you have the Pingala. They are present, they are available, and the energy flows through the Ida or the Pingla. It goes up and down and up and down and up and down. And that is how we live in our day-to-day lives. Depending on the quality of energy, depending of the chakra which we have been able to reach, our abilities increase. We become very genius, or we become dull, whatever is based on the activation of chakras in Ida and Pingla. Sometimes people go crazy. Why? Because there are blockages and the energy goes in places where it need not and should not go. That's why it creates problems. Managing that energy is essential. So that is Ida, Pingla, Ganga, Yamuna, manifest. And you have the third, Sushumna, the gateway to transcendence. If you want to transcend, you need to activate. You need to activate Sushumna. If Sushumna is not activated, there is no way that the transcendence can take place. All the effort which is done, all the sadhana which is done is towards purifying this pathway and eventually activating it. That is what Sushumna is. And exactly that is what is reflected in Prayagraj. You have Ganga, you have Yamuna, and below is the invisible Saraswati. At Muladhar, you have the Sangam from where it starts and then it finishes in Ajna, not up here in Sahasrar, but in Ajna. At no other place there is a joining. There is a crisscross which is taking place, but there is not a joining. That happens in Muladhar and in Ajna. So Triveni Sangam indicates that position where all the three meet. Now, is it Muladhar for you or is it Ajna for you? That we have to work out. We have the option to make it into Ajna. We are all in Muladhar. Maybe a little bit down also for us, some of us. So that is the significance of the Triveni Sangam. Ida, Pingla, Sushumna.
Swamiji, there is a question from Santosh Kumar ji. Is there any relevance of Kumbha Konam in Tamil Nadu with the Kumbha?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You see, in South India, that has nothing to do with this Kumbha, the nectar Kumbha, but there is a significance because in that Kumbha, you put the water in and over there you invite and invoke the divinities and that divinity is concentrated over there. And when that concentration takes place, then that concentration is वो त्रिकोण है, द्विकोण है. Koण means it converges at that point. So that energy converges at that point and then there is a outburst. That is Kumbhakonam. That has significance with Kumbha, and that is why you will see in South India a very important uh, process is Kumbhabhishek, something which is not so commonly seen in North India. That Kumbhabhishek is considered to be very, very powerful because you keep the Kumbh, Ghat. नवरात्रि में घट रखते हैं ना, वही घट की कल्पना है. And in that you have the water and you invoke divine energies over there, and that water is sanctified with those energies, and that sanctified water is then used for the abhishek. It's a very big process. You can call it as a religious process if you just look at the rituals, but if you go few steps behind into the subtle aspect, it is the science of prana vidya which is being utilized over there. So
why so many sannyasis and mahantas come there at the Kumbh Mela?
back to Kumbh Mela. Yeah, we should not get diverted. That is true. Yeah, आप क्या सवाल क्या किए? What was your question?
Okay, my question was, Swamiji, so many sannyasis, so many mahantas, so many great souls, they gather there for what?
भाई अमृत से क्या मिलता है आपको?
अमरत्व.
अमरत्व मिलता है, मोक्ष मिलता है. मोक्ष के लिए कौन लालायित होते हैं? साधु सन्यासी ही न लालायित होते हैं, साधक लोग ही लालायित होते हैं. There was a story. One lady asked Bhagwan Buddha, Bhagwan, you have the ability to give moksha, nirvana. So Why is it that you are not giving nirvana to all these people and, liberating them? He said, very good. Do one thing. Please go into the village, because in those days there was the practice of bhiksha. And once you go to every door, knock on the door and tell them that Bhagwan Buddha is in a very benevolent mood. He will give you whatever you ask for, whatever you desire for, and make a note of what everybody is desiring. She went all over the village. Hundreds of houses she went to. Not one person said they want moksha. I want a son. I want marriage. I want a job. I want this. I want that. Want. Nobody wants. Those people who are caught in samsara, they are all stuck up over there. I'm not saying good or bad. Those people who are away from that, they are yearning for the transcendence. So the Kumbha Mela is the place where you have transcendence, and therefore it is the place of sadhus. All other festivals are for the grihasthis, but this is for the sadhus, because the main aim of this congregation is moksha. Next step below that moksha is papa nivaran, but the ultimate aim is moksha. That can happen here, and that is why sannyasins from all over, they come. They don't care for anything. I was just talking to somebody. They told that they had seen in Haridwar, the Kumbh was there at 9 o'clock. Suddenly, from nowhere, hordes of sannyasins would come in. Naga sadhus, other sannyasins, everybody. They will come in, they will take their dip, they will wait for 5 minutes. Whatever they get in bhiksha, they will take, and in 15 minutes, half an hour, the place is empty. Of course, this was, 30, 40 years ago, before it became into a marketplace. But that is how they are not interested in the world. They want to take that dip, because that dip is a culmination of their sadhana. And this is a part of their sadhana. So that is why the congregation of sannyasins, because जहां मधु है वहां मक्खी आती है, मोक्ष है, सब सन्यासी आ जाते हैं. As simple as that.
Swamiji, Lakshmikanji has said, is it the same concept why river Sangam place becomes holy places?
A similar concept, because you see, when there is a confluence, then there is an upsurge of energy. We are having a confluence of people, of like-minded people, thinking, asking, discussing, talking. If I were sitting and thinking, I might come up with 1 or 2 points. But then when you come and you challenge me, oh, how is that possible? Then I start applying my mind. Then somebody else comes up with a thought, fourth, fifth, sixth. So when there is this confluence, then there is knowledge which comes up. In the same way, when there's a confluence of rivers, each river has its own energy, subtle energy, and that energy joins in, and there's an upsurge at that point. And then further ahead, that both the energies join and become one. But at that point where there's that energy which is coming, that is why the energy is high in any sangam.
There is another question, Swamiji.
There are 2-3 questions which have come in, but I think you have missed them.
I thought I will take it in order.
Together. Okay.
Together. Is there any relevance of different akhada in Kumbha and their order?
Now that is that is a different story. Because you see, the akhadas are those places. We know अखाड़ा अखाड़ा का मतलब होता है जहां कुश्ती खेली जाती है ना? तो ये कुश्ती कौन सी होती है? दो प्रकार की कुश्ती होती है। एक तो होती है शारीरिक कुश्ती, जहां शस्त्र का उपयोग होता है। अखाड़ा में शस्त्र की विद्या दी जाती है और साथ साथ शास्त्र की भी विद्या दी जाती है, नॉलेज एंड फिजिकल फोर्स। बिकॉज you if you go back in history 2 3 4 thousand years ago and you look at the nature of Kumbh Mela, the nature was slightly different. Now the nature is different because over last 1.5 thousand years, 2,000 years, there has been regular bombarding on this civilization. I'm not using the word religion, mind you. India had no religion. India is a place where there is a confluence of different ways of thinking, but there is one thing which is common in all. They say there is unity in diversity. What is that unity? A person in Kanyakumari, he is speaking a totally different language. He eats differently. He speaks differently. He thinks differently. Person from Kashmir, total different. So what is same? There is one thing which is same. The concept Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. That is the one which is same across. It is expressed in different manners, but that is the uniting force. A Setu Himachal, that is the uniting force. So now there was never a religion in India. India is a land where we have realized that there are two levels of existence. One is the mundane and one is the transcendental. So we have to live in the mundane and we have to progress in the mundane. But we have to progress in such a manner that while we are progressing in the mundane, you are eventually leading yourself to the transcendental. And ways have been found how to do it. Depending on the nature of people, depending on the situations, different ways came up. And a similar thing is these different akhadas. They have, you have an Agni akhada which has a totally different way of, rituals. You have Niranjani, you have Juna akhada. Everybody has different ways, but final is same. So these akhadas were places where the congregation of these thoughts came in, and when there were attacks, these people took up methods to protect this civilization. And that is why the Shastra also came in with Shastra. It is said that Guru Gobind Dev Ji, he had two swords with him. One was to destroy all those people who are doing adharma, and the other was for the dharma. That was the other was the indicator of the Shastra. And he has said that that sword is longer. The dharma, the Shastra aspect is stronger. So that is why these people, they have both Shastra and Shastra, so that you can protect, you can nurture, nourish, and rejuvenate. And because of the situations, then you have various things. And also, then this became a place where the culture can come up, where you can show everything. This also became a place that people who have been doing sadhana all year round, they are able to take a small break. So it becomes a place, a time for them where they can have us in modern world, they can chill out a bit. So that is why there are multiple things which are seen. We need to understand the whole concept. The akhadas, the activities are meant with all these things in mind.
Swamiji, my question, and on behalf of all those who are visiting the Kumbha, that when we visit the Kumbha and stay there for a few days, what should we do? And I will ask the second question also on behalf of Tanu Priyajis and Chitra Bhanujis, that if we cannot go, what can we do in our own home in this auspicious period?
Very nice question. This is, I think, by far the most important question for us. If we know all of this intellectually or not, doesn't make any difference to us. Of course, it is useful because then we are orienting ourselves correctly. But what is important is how can we make a difference in our life? So, the most important thing in Kumbh is Snan. But what is Snan? Tell me, what is Snan?
Purification.
Shuddhi.
Purification.
Purification. Okay, very good. Snanam mano malatyagaha. Snan means getting rid of the mal, the impurities in the mind. It is not just that you pour water. It is getting rid of those impurities. So when you take the dubki, all these impurities which are there, they need to go out. And then you need to close the door because then otherwise they will come back in. That's why you need to do that pratyahar. We need to work ourselves on that. And to be able to do this, what do we need to do? The simplest, most effective sadhana told for Kali Yuga is Sumiran. Remember the name of the Lord. Remember the name of the Lord. Jap karo, sankirtan karo. Second thing, many times we know we should do it, but मन नहीं लगता है. So वो मन को लगाने के लिए क्या करना पड़ता है? सत्संग करना पड़ता है. जब सत्संग करते हैं तो सुनते हैं, प्रेरणा मिलती है. You get an energy and you want to make that shift. But that alone is again not enough, because when you have listened to something, you have taken it in, you need to assimilate it. That's why you need to do swadhyay. What is it said? Because when he has said something, it is a very specific thing. It has got many implications behind. Let me study and find it out. Not studying history, geography, civics, and political science. Not studying about the behavior of this person and that person and this and that. No. Swadhyay is about Swa. Swa is the cosmic self. Studying about that. Swadhyay. So when you do this, then there is a shift which takes place. And in spite of all of this, we are such hard nuts that it doesn't make any long-term impact for us. And that is why we need to do seva. Seva can be in form of many things. You can do dan, you can do annadan, you can do so many things. You will see in the Kumbh Mela, people are giving and giving and giving. Why? Because doing dan is very, very... What do you give? Don't give dan like Nachiketa's father. Giving old cows. मरने को आ गए हैं, चलो भाई हमारे कोई काम के नहीं, हम दे दिए. No, 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 no. That is not how we have to give. Dan, as is told in the Shastras, is I love this object. I care for it very much. That object which I would like to have, let me give it to somebody so that they can have the same joy as I might have had it. I might be very happy with pizza. But that boy over there does not like pizza. You give him cheese, he will throw it away. Give him dal bhat, he will be in seventh heaven. Give him what he needs. Seva has to be need based, not me based. What do they need? Accordingly, the seva has to be oriented, because seva is for them, not for me. Generally, seva is about me. See, I have given so many blankets, I have given so much of food, I have given so many clothes, I have given so many this, that, the other. I, 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 I. That is not seva. That is ego. We have to get rid of that ego. We have to become very vinamra. We have to think that is God sitting over there. That is my Guru sitting over there. That is my Ishta Devata sitting over there. That is my beloved sitting over there. That bhav we need to have. One day, somebody had asked Mother Teresa. That person said, how do you take care of those people? I would not for anything in the world. They're so filthy, so dirty, so yucky. How do you even go there and do all that? She said, I also feel the same. But for the love of God, I would not have been able to do this. The love of God. I see God in that person. I don't see that person. I see God in that person. When I see God in that person, then my perspective changes. That is the perspective which Eknath Maharaj had. Once he was sitting and was about to start his meal, and he was doing his prayers before his meals, and he went into a trance. Looking at that, a dog quietly entered and picked up his roti, and immediately Eknath Maharaj came to his senses and he started running behind the dog. People said, look at that person, he speaks so much about being loving everybody, etc., 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 and the dog has taken away his roti and he's running behind it to take the roti back. The other person said, no my dear, just watch what is happening. Eknath Maharaj, he had ghee in his hand and he was calling out, oh Lord, please don't take the roti, it is dry, it will be very tough for you to swallow it, please take this ghee with it. He was running behind to give ghee to the dog, because he did not see the dog, he saw God who had come. It is this bhav which we need to have when we do seva. And when we have this bhav, then purification takes place very easily. So this is the sadhana, the 5S: Snan, Sumiran, Satsang, Swadhyay, Seva. When you do this, you are able to make the fullest use of this. And your personal sadhana, you should do, of course, that should go on. There's no doubt about that. But these things will allow you to catch hold of that energy and make it a part of you. Otherwise, the grace comes in and the grace goes out, because there are holes all over. So whatever comes in has just gone away. And we are empty and dry as we were earlier. No, we have to plug all those holes and make ourselves ready to receive the grace. The grace is coming down in hordes. जिसको जितना मिले ले लो, खत्म नहीं होने वाली है. हम लेते ही नहीं है, हमारे पात्र ही छोटे हैं, और छोटे होने के बाद उसमें छेद हैं, तो जितना आता है वो सब निकल जाता है. वो छेद बंद करना पड़ता है. छेद बंद करने के लिए ये सब उपाय होते हैं. वो चीज कीजिएगा. एंड फॉर दोज हु आर अनेबल टू गो टू द कुंभ, देन very simple thing. In olden days, you had Gange chaiva Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. You invoke the Ganga, you invoke the Yamuna, you invoke the Saraswati, you invoke the grace of Guru, you invoke the Surya, you invoke the Chandra, and visualize that you are there. And then you take the dubki, you will reach over there. And I'm not saying this just to support and, console people who are there. No, who are not able to go. This works if you are sincere about it. If you are not sincere about it, it doesn't work. You have to be very sincere about it to the best of your ability that yes, this is what has happened. Ganga has come, Yamuna has come, Saraswati has come, the Surya Nadi, the sun, the Chandra Nadi, the moon, Ida and Pingla, Guru, the transcendental. They have created that energy, that electromagnetic field has been created, and the water is being sanctified. And I take the water and I purify myself. Swadhyay, Sumiran, Satsang, Swadhyay, Seva. For that, you don't need to be in the Kumbh. If you can, nothing like it. But if I'm old, if I'm unable to go, then use this. But don't let the khopdi come in between at that point of time. जब प्यार होता है ना, तो प्यार दिल से होता है, खोपड़ी से नहीं होता है. आप लोगों को तो मालूम है, आप लोग तो सब अनुभवी खिलाड़ी बैठे हैं. तो प्यार आप खोपड़ी से करते हैं क्या, या दिल से करते हैं? अरे सब लोग मूक बन गए, क्या बात है?
दिल से
करते हैं।
दिल से करते हैं ना.
प्रेम कहाँ होता है, वो तो सब स्वार्थी भाव होता है.
जो भी है, अरे दुनिया का जो प्रेम है, लेकिन वो आप खोपड़ी से करते हैं क्या? ओ ये बहुत अच्छा दिखता है, ओ इसके पास 4 गाड़ी है, इसलिए हम उससे प्रेम करते हैं. वो तो प्रेम का नाटक होता है. लेकिन जब वो प्रेम हो जाता है, तो सामने वाला कैसे भी हो, प्रेम हो जाता है. ठीक उसी प्रकार से जैसे एक माँ के लिए अपना शिशु लाडला भगवान कृष्ण जैसे होता है. अरे मेरे कान्हा कहाँ चले, वो दिखने में कैसे भी हो, वो उसको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. वो उसके लिए वो कान्हा होता है. वो दिल की बात होती है, वो खोपड़ी की बात नहीं होती है. खोपड़ी आपके बिजनेस में लगाइए, यहाँ पर दिल लगाइए. दिल को एकदम पूरी तरह से यहाँ न्यौछावर कर दीजिएगा, और आप देखेंगे कि परिवर्तन हो जाता है. That is how you can make use of this beautiful period which is coming up. Very nice window is coming up where you can transform yourself. Utilize this beautiful, because this is not just any ordinary Kumbh. You see, every 3 years you have a Kumbh, and when the Kumbh comes back at Prayag after 12 years, that is the Purna Kumbh. And every 12th Purna Kumbh is known as the Mahakumbh. So after 144 years, if you have the guarantee that you can live for the next Mahakumbh, then no problem. Miss this opportunity. But if you feel that there might be a chance that you might not live for 144 years, this is a God-said opportunity. Make full use of it and reap the benefits. This is the chance of a breakthrough in our life. We all need breakthrough. For whatever purposes we need it, we can get that breakthrough. And this is a wonderful opportunity for that breakthrough. Actually, I think we are already at 8:30. Any questions?
Comment from Santosh Kumar ji. So it is a religious congregation. Yes. And
no, it is not a religious. It is not a religious congregation. It is not a religious congregation. It is a spiritual congregation. Religion comes in because where spirituality is, religions are going to come in, because religion has spirituality at the base. But when I decide that this is the path and this is the only path, then that is becomes religion. And when it is, this is one path, this is my path, your path might be different. Let me see if I can learn from your path. Oh, that seems to be a good point. Let me pick up from there. That is spirituality, because you are working with the science. There is no dogma. When you get into that, then that becomes religion. So religion comes in willy nilly, बिकॉज वो तो ऊर्जा है, ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में तो धर्म आना ही आना है, बिकॉज इन इट्स ओरिजिनल फॉर्म there is no difference between religion and spirituality. The word religion in English, it's an English word, it's not a Hindi word or a Sanskrit word. In English, legion, Legion, means a unit of the army which comes in a specific formation, and when they are given a break, they scatter. And religion means you fall back into that formation. We were in a formation aligned with the divine, and we broke out and we started getting scattered, falling back into that formation so that we are aligned with the divine, is what is religion in its true form. You tell me, is religion today practiced in its true form? Very few people do that. So therefore, when all those exploitations, etc., 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 come in, that is religion. And when the purity, the essence of everything, the science behind it, that is spirituality. Kumbh Mela is the spiritual congregation. It is not a religious congregation. Religion comes in the same way as everybody comes in, but it is not the basis of that.
Swamiji, last question is from Nivedita ji, and I think she already must have got the answer. लेकिन प्रश्न में पूछती हूँ, अगर ये साधुओं के लिए कांग्रेगेशन है तो हमें नहीं जाना चाहिए क्या? तो उसको भी समझा होगा कि हमको तो जरूर जाना चाहिए फिर उसमें, लेकिन आप
इच्छा
बताइए।
है, आपको आशीर्वाद नहीं चाहिए, आपको एनर्जी नहीं चाहिए, आपको जीवन में ब्रेक थ्रू नहीं चाहिए, आपको अपने आपको इवॉल्व नहीं करना है, तो बिल्कुल मत जाइए। लेकिन अगर आपको ये सब चीज करना है, तो ये बहुत सुंदर मौका है। देखिए, 4 पुरुषार्थ होते हैं, धर्म, अर्थ, काम, मोक्ष। आपको चारों चीज मिल जाएंगे। हाँ, उद्देश्य मोक्ष है, बाकी भी मिल जाएंगे।
स्वामी जी,
धर्म चाहिए, धर्म मिल जाएगा। अर्थ चाहिए, अर्थ मिल जाएगा। काम चाहिए, काम मिल जाएगा। काम यानी कामना, केवल काम वासना नहीं, कामना, एनी डिजायर। और मोक्ष चाहिए तो मोक्ष मिल जाएगा। लेकिन हर चीज के लिए भाई मेहनत करनी पड़ती है। देयर आर नो फ्री लंचेस, आइदर इन योर बिजनेस और इन स्पिरिचुअलिटी। यू नीड टू वर्क फॉर इट एट ऑल प्लेसेस।
स्वामी जी, मुझे ये पूछना था कि बेसिकली अगर ये साधुओं के लिए है तो हमें उधर जाकर उनको डिस्टर्ब करना या ऐसा हो सकता है ना, इसलिए
हाँ,
हम
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
हाँ
देखिए, अगर ऐसे होता ना, तो साल भर ये सब लोग, इतनी भीड़ उमड़ पड़ी है, कहाँ रहते हैं साल भर? किसी को कुछ पता नहीं है, चुपचाप कोने में पड़े रहते हैं, किसी को कुछ कानो कान खबर नहीं रहती है। लेकिन जब मेला आता है तो सब उमड़ पड़ते हैं, सैलाब उमड़ पड़ता है। ये प्रकट होते हैं, और प्रकट होने का मतलब है कि लोगों का भला भी हो। इसमें प्रकट होने में एक ये होता है कि लोगों को भी भला हो। लोग दुखी हैं, दीन हैं, आर्त है, उनको कोई रास्ता मिल नहीं रहा है, उन्हें भी रास्ता प्राप्त हो। उसी चीज के लिए ये प्रकट है, और नहीं तो साल भर तो चुपचाप पड़े ही रहते हैं। इसको भी ऐसे ही चुपचाप कर दिए होते। नहीं, ये आप लोगों के लिए है। आप लोग कौन है? साधक लोग हैं। ये केवल साधुओं के लिए नहीं है, साधकों के लिए है। जो अपने आप को साधना चाहते हैं, साधना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए है। और चाहे अनचाहे में सब सजते रहते हैं, पिटते तो हमेशा सब रहते हैं ना। अगर हम अपने से करें तो अच्छी बात है, और नहीं तो प्रकृति हमें इधर से और उधर से चपट तो मारते ही रहती है। तो साधना तो होते ही रहती है। आप चीनी छोड़ दीजिएगा स्वेच्छा से तो आपकी साधना हो गई, और नहीं डायबिटीज हो गया तो उसने बोल दिया बेटा बहुत चीनी खा ली, अब चुप करो, चीनी मत खाओ। ये संयम जो है, उस प्रकार से ये जो हो रहा है, ये हम लोगों के भलाई के लिए पब्लिकली हो रहा है। अगर नहीं हो चाहिए होता तो वो एकदम चुपचाप होता। ऐसे अनेक चीज होते हैं जिसका किसी को कानो कान खबर नहीं होता है। जो सीक्रेट होना होता है वो सीक्रेट होता है, जो प्रकट होना होता है जिससे लोगों का फायदा हो वो प्रकट होता है। ये एक बहुत सुंदर मौका है जहां हम इन लोगों के सानिध्य में जाकर के अपने आप को पावन कर सकते हैं। भाई सत्संग करने के लिए दोनों की जरूरत होती है ना। अबे हम लोग बैठ करके करेंगे तो कुसंग हो जाएगा वो। अरे वो ना वो ऐसे था, वो ना ऐसे था, इसलिए ये गड़बड़ किया, वो गड़बड़ किया, वो गड़बड़ किया। दो लोग मिलते हैं, यही चीज शुरू हो जाती है। वो सत्संग नहीं होता है। सत्संग वो होता है जो अच्छी चीज, प्रेरणा देने वाली चीज, वो जब हमें प्राप्त होती है वो सत्संग होता है। तो सत्संग के लिए निश्चित रूप से आपको जाना जरूरी है, आवश्यक है। जब सत्संग के लिए आप जाएंगे तब आपके जीवन में परिवर्तन होगा। जी लक्ष्मी जी।
मुझे
धन्यवाद।
मुझे पूछना ये था कि यहाँ से आज 25 लोग उपस्थित है, कौन कौन आ रहे हैं?
हाँ, वो तो सी दैट इज देयर ओन पर्सनल डिजायर एंड
नो
वी
नो,
हैव।
हैज एनीबडी प्लान टू कम? माय क्वेश्चन इज, कोई किसी का ऑलरेडी प्रोग्राम है, मन बना चुके हैं क्या? ऐसे आप स्वामी जी?
हम जाने, आई विल बी गोइंग।
तो आई विल मीट यू देयर। कौन से तारीख को आ रहे हैं आप? ठीक है, मैं बात करती हूँ। ठीक
सो
है। और एंड अपना बिहार स्कूल या रिकिया पीठ का कुछ अखाड़े में कोई कहीं उनका कुछ प्रेजेंस होगा वहाँ?
नहीं, आई डोंट, दे विल बी देयर, बट अखाड़ा के रूप में इस बार नहीं, हमारे जानकारी में तो नहीं।
अच्छा ठीक है, तो मैं आपसे बात करती हूँ। एंड only this morning I was thinking about it, and yesterday morning, and then you announced this Zoom meeting. I was delighted. Okay, ठीक है, नंतर बोलते हैं तुमसे।
Yes, certainly.
Thank you.
Oh, this is a very opportune moment for us to make that change in our life. And I do wish and pray that all of us uh, make use of it. If we can go physically, see a very simple thing. There is also a dog, a cow, a goat who is going to be there in Kumbh Mela. They are going to remain a dog, a cow, a cat, or whatever, or whatever, or whatever. There are going to be humans who are going to go. Everybody is not going to get moksha. Just yesterday, I was talking to somebody. He said that Sant Jnaneshwar has said that you stand in front of God for 1 minute and you are totally transformed. But then you need to stand in front of God. Either your body is standing, mind is elsewhere. Mind is there, emotions are elsewhere. Whole you is hardly in front of God, hardly in alignment. It takes 1 minute. That alignment takes place, the energy transfer has taken place, we are transformed. It takes 1 minute. वो कनेक्शन नहीं हो पाता है। जितनी भी साधना है वो कनेक्शन करने के लिए है। तो it is not necessary that if you go to Kumbh, you will have moksha. In the same way, it is not necessary that if you don't go to Kumbh, you will not have moksha. You can, make use of this system and uplift yourself. If you're able to go there, so much so better, because that is the place where the entire energy is, vibrating. But if I am not able to, you connect here and that energy can connect to you also. So whichever way, we should be able to. देखिए, कल्पवास करना तो बहुत बड़ी चीज हो जाती है। 1 महीने तक बहुत सादे रूप में खाना, ये तो तपस्या हो जाती है ना। कल्पवास यानी तपस्या होती है, तो तपस्या तो हमेशा अधिक अच्छी रहती है। लेकिन जिनके लिए संभव नहीं है, 1 महीना नहीं रह सकते हैं, 15 दिन रह सकते हैं, 1 हफ्ता रह सकते हैं, 3 दिन रह सकते हैं, और कुछ नहीं तो एक जाकर के डुबकी लगा करके आ गए। जितना हो सकता है उतने को ही हम ग्रहण कर लेंगे। दैट विल गिव अस व्हाट वी नीड। आई हैव द कैपेसिटी ऑफ 1 liter and you give me 5 liters, 4 liters is going to go away. So we pick up 1 liter, allow that to make a transformation in our life, and then automatically we get an opportunity for 2 liters, 5 liters, 10 liters. As our cup starts increasing, grace also starts coming in. So we start this ट्रिगर हो जाना चाहिए, और फिर वो धीरे 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 बढ़ते। चलिए, आई थिंक वी शुड conclude. We are already
Which got really very important information, and these were all our questions, and we are very satisfied that they are answered very properly, and we can go with a good tayari for the Kumbha now.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you, Swamiji.
This is important. This is important. कुंभ में जा करके, हाँ, कुंभ में जा करके don't get into the habit of, oh, this is not right, this is not right, oh, he should have done it this way, he should have done it that way. You are wasting your time. While concluding, I will give you a wonderful example. You आपने बतलाया, बहुत अच्छा हुआ, याद आया हमें. You know, when Swami Satyanand ji, he left Munger, he did paribhraman of all the tirtha kshetras, and one of that was Kashi Vishwanath. At that time, Swami Satyasanganand ji was there with him. So when he went, she also went with him. He told her in the morning, chalo, we have to go for darshan of Baba. So she went, and everybody knows how the temple is full of crowd and everybody pushing and everything and everything and everything. And Swamiji was walking, and so she was also following. And then at one time, they just came out of the whole thing. She said, ha. And so then Swamiji turned around and said, you had darshan? She said, what darshan? There's so much of crowd, so much of dirt, so much of people shouting and yelling and screaming. How dirty these people are. Swamiji said, my dear, had you come here for this, or had you come here for the darshan of Shivji? You decide. If you have come here for all of that, that is your aim. I had come for the darshan of Shivji. And the beauty of Swami Satyasanganand is that the next day, because he was there for 3 days, so next day when he went for the darshan, she had focused herself so completely that she said that she did not notice anything else, only one pointed focus. And she said the darshan she had that day was one of the best darshans she had. So when you go to Kumbh, don't sit down and analyze how the government is doing correct or wrong, how this is happening, how politics is going on, what is going on. That's not why you are going in Kumbh. You better sit home and do that. If you are going in Kumbh, be in Kumbh. That is the reason why you are there. If somebody else is not behaving correctly, that's not your concern. You are not given that duty. Your duty is to get that. Don't miss that opportunity. Focus completely. Opportunity comes very fleetingly. And in Kumbh, if you are aware, there are great Mahatmas who come. Many of them are in body, many of them are not in body. They might go in front of you also, and you might not know because your mind is distracted. Don't let that happen. When you are in Kumbh, you are in Kumbh and you are not anywhere else. Go with that. Snan, Sumiran, Satsang, Swadhyay, Seva. 5 things you can allow the mind to jump into these 5 areas. No sixth area. हाँ, खाना पीना का ख्याल करना है, कपड़े का ख्याल करना है, जूते का ख्याल करना है, ट्रेन टिकट का ख्याल करना है, वो दूसरी बात है. I'm not speaking about that. But if my mind goes anywhere beyond all of that, after my Kumbh visit, I will think about all of that. This is not the time. Make your mind one pointed. Withdraw the mind from all unnecessary things and connect it to the divine, and the Kumbh will fructify for us. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namo Narayan. Jai.
Namo